I'm Nick, and this Intel platform, the Intel Slot 1 platform, defined my teenage years with both gaming and all things Linux. But this board right here is only telling half of the story because at the time you could buy motherboards that supported not one, but two Pentium 2 or 3 CPUs. This is the ASUS P2BD. It's a dual slot 1 motherboard. This, my friends, is a motherboard that dreams were made of, and it's got a very interesting story with how I acquired it. I gotta give a massive shout out to Marco over in Taiwan. You guys probably know Marco. He's been in a bunch of our content. He lives over there and he is absolutely into retro hardware, and he found this one for me. The craziest thing about this board is this board has never been powered on. It is brand new. The truth is, this video already came out. In fact, I have 2 of the t-shirts just for continuity. And what you're about to see is a series of side quests that come together to make something somewhat understandable. To be honest, it's exactly the same as the old video, I just changed the intro. I only mentioned the other thing like...
It's okay, we're allowed to be wrong.
Look guys, it's not often that I'm wrong, but you know, 26 years is a long time for me to remember absolutely everything about every single platform on the internet with computers that do the brrrr. In 1999, this was the pinnacle of computing. All the games of that era were awesome. All the computers were awesome. We were kind of on this cusp of really exciting new technology, and the fact that you could go out and buy a motherboard that supported 2 CPUs with 2 off-the-shelf CPUs that weren't a Xeon was very exciting. Let's take a closer look.
Headshot. You're the winner. Alright, here it is. Oh wait, I should turn that off.
Yeah, this is the ASUS P2BD. This is one of my dream motherboards. Don't be fooled by this old box. This is a brand new motherboard in box. There's only one thing missing, and that is the IO shield. It probably just got lost over time. This box has probably been sitting on a shelf for about 26 years, so this is regular, sit on the shelf, wear and tear. But I wanted to show you exactly what comes with a board like this, because you may find it interesting to know that not a lot has changed over the last 26 years. First of all, this isn't included with the motherboard. This is some RAM that Marco sent. This is, I think it's 384 megs of SD RAM. There's a driver disk, which you will definitely need with a motherboard like this, to be honest, or you can find the drivers on the retro web. There's also a sticker, which put it on your case, guys. This is one you should definitely put on your case. There's a software setup guide. This guide is in Chinese, obviously, because this board is directly from Taiwan and it was never meant to be sold in our market in the English-speaking countries. This is pretty interesting because it's a bit of a throwback to see what the software was like. There's also the user guide and the manual itself. This is also all in Chinese. There's no English in this manual whatsoever. But the truth is, this manual is available on the retro web, so you don't need this, but yeah, it is nice to have it as part of the package here. There's also a floppy cable as well as an IDE cable. You can tell that this is brand new. Look guys, it's still in the plastic. It's never been used. There's also a set of 3 jumpers in there as well, just as spares. Motherboards used to come with spare jumpers just in case one flew off when you were doing something. There's also 5 CPU carriers. That's right, you get a spare one, and here's me dropping one. These are brand new, never ever been used before, and I'm not going to install them in this video on the board. People will hate that, but it just makes it a bit of a pain in the bum to remove the CPU later. There's also the dummy CPU card, or the Terminator card, and this will allow you to run a single CPU on this board. Let's say, for instance, you bought one CPU and you could afford one at the time, and you wanted to upgrade to a second CPU later. That's exactly the same because they have to be a matched pair. Then you can just buy one CPU and then add another one later. How cool is that? Proper upgradability. I mean, PCs are pretty upgradable still. All right, time to unsheath this brand new board. The condition of this board is insane. It is brand new. All the capacitors are beautiful. There is nothing wrong with this board at all. I could not believe my eyes when Marco told me that he'd been able to find me a brand new inbox, unused dual slot 1 board. How incredible. There's a few interesting things here. There's the non-standard front panel wiring. There was no standard back then, although a lot of boards did kind of use this layout. We have a much more standardized method for doing this now. There's 2 IDE connectors as well as a floppy connector. If you don't know what IDE is, it is the drive standard or the communication standard for your drives to interface with your motherboard before SATA. Some will call it PATA, not SATA, or PATA, or SATA. I don't know. I don't make the rules on pronunciation. It's how we say it here in Australia.
It's watermelon! Inside a watermelon!
There's also a sticker on the board that shows you what the jumpers need to be set to for the different frontside bus speeds. So the CPUs we're using for this video are 100 megahertz frontside bus CPUs. However, you can do a little bit of overclocking if you want to take some risks here. You can overclock it by setting the FSB to 103 megahertz or 112 or 133. It does work, but you will need more cooling. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it. As shown by that sticker, there are 3 jumpers to change here. The FSB is preset to 100 because that was the most common frontside bus speed at the time. And the pins start from the bottom, so pin 1 is at the bottom, not at the top. This is typically what you'll see with most headers and components on these older boards. As for power, this has a 20-pin ATX power connector, not a 24-pin. This is what came before 24-pin. 24-pin power cables will plug into this, so you'll be just fine. Basically, what you need to do if you're using a 24-pin power connector, if it doesn't have a breakaway, is when you look at the power connector, you want to hang the 4 pins on the left-hand side out of it, so they're not plugged in. So you have the... I mean, it won't fit anyway because they're keyed that way, so, just so you know. This board was actually designed with Pentium 3 slot 1 CPUs in mind, and it does have 2 of these slot 1 slots for CPUs. How exciting! Ooh, I can't wait to show you guys what happens later in the video. Make sure you're subscribed and turn notifications on, but yeah, you'll see it in this video anyway. There's a single AGP slot because boards didn't have 2 of them. This is a 3.3 volt AGP slot. It's also a 2 times AGP slot, so not 4 times, which means that you will be limited with some graphics cards. Not really a big deal because the graphics card that I'm going to be using for the final build is also a 3.3 volt 2 times AGP card anyway. There's 4 32-bit PCI slots, not PCIe. Remember, this is long before PCI Express, and 2 16-bit ISA slots. For the day, this had plenty of slots for connectivity. I thought this was interesting to show you guys. This is an Asus GeForce 2 MX400, and this is what the edge connector looks like for AGP if you've never seen it before. I just wanted to show you because it's a bit different. I mean, our younger viewers may have never seen this before. Flipping the board over, you can see that this is in fact a brand new motherboard. You will notice there are 2 bodge wires from factory here. This is probably just to fix some weird issues with the silk screening of the traces. Believe it or not, 4 memory slots at this time was a little bit unusual. Typically, with slot 1 boards, there were 3 slots, not 4 slots, but because this is a dual CPU board, there was 1 extra, just for good measure. All right, here's the fun stuff. If you've never seen what a slot 1 CPU looks like, this is a Pentium 2 350. This is one that I've modified with an aftermarket heatsink and 2 50mm fans to make it cooler and quieter. This one I modified last year, not on the channel, just because this is typically the Pentium 2 CPU I use to muck around and tinker and play with. And you can see like this heatsink is massive. The reason why I think they discontinued slot 1 was because of the cooler orientation. It would get to the point where it'd just hit the memory modules and it would just be ridiculous. So they decided to use PGA sockets after that. I've also got another Pentium 2 350. This is what the stock cooler looks like. And you'll hear it a little bit later in the video, but this stock fan is just, it's insanely loud and I hate it. And I'm probably going to change this out later anyway. But if you're curious to see how slot 1 CPUs are installed, remember I didn't install the carriers here, mainly because it can be an absolute pain in the buttocks to remove these CPUs with them in, but essentially you just line it up like you would with any other type of card because the CPU is quite literally a card, and then you press down to slot the card into the slot. And I'll show you this one more time with a stock CPU in the other CPU socket, just for good measure. Press it in and Bob's your dad's brother. And there you have it. An absolute dream of a motherboard. This is what dreams were made of. Like I said, dual CPU motherboards were the things that dreams were made of back in the day. The reality is, at that time, they were accessible. You could just buy 2 Pentium 2 350s off the shelf, buy a board like this, and have 2 CPUs, but you were limited by the operating system that you could use to use both of the CPUs. So first of all, Windows 98, out of the question, only supported a single CPU, but you needed something more like one of these two. Just in case you're wondering, I do own a genuine copy of Windows NT Workstation. Here's the manual, I'm covering the product key, and I do have a genuine copy of Windows XP Pro. People don't believe me when I say I'm a collector. I have, there's the key in there. I have genuine versions of all of the OG operating systems and stuff. This is so freaking cool. I can't believe we have all of this stuff. So sick. Anyway, I don't know why I went into that.
Because it's cool.
Claire really likes that stuff, by the way. She's actually the collector of all the documentation and licensing. What's that? Is that a warranty card?
No, it says before changing.
Before changing or adding, oh, look at that. Windows NT was very, very picky. Oh, this is awesome. This service pack also contains fixes for year 2000 issues, which is the perfect vintage for this board. But we won't be using Windows NT on this system that I end up building with it. I think we're gonna do Windows 2000 or Windows XP, because Windows XP is like Windows 2000 with a bunch of more modern stuff on top.
I love Windows XP.
I liked Windows XP at the time, but to be honest, when Windows XP came out, I was daily driving Mandrake Linux.
Of course.
Yeah, I was maining. Hey, you're giving away my product key in video. Claire's got more of this retro stuff, by the way.
I think you might need this.
Okay, I might
You
need.
should read
I need the step-by-step guide to laptops and tablet PC. Is this an actual Microsoft sanctioned book? What's in it? Oh, it's got a disc in it. I almost snapped this in half.
Please don't.
Claire's got the documentation and disc collection. If you wanted to know how to share your internet connection, the computer should be running Windows XP.
It should be, doesn't it?
This is all sanctioned by Microsoft. They all have Microsoft logos on them. Front page. Wow.
I've actually read that one.
Here you go, you guys.
I love
If you want to make a website, here's some markup.
If you want to code your MySpace.
Yeah. Oh, this is pre-MySpace. This is very pre-MySpace. Oh, this is brand new inbox. Look at that. The official monthly magazine for Windows XP. I wonder who the writers were, and I wonder if we know some of them now. This is September 2006. I think that Windows Vista was out at this point. And this is a Windows XP magazine.
I want to open that one day.
No, that was a side quest. Let's see if it works. This is not going to be the final hardware we're using in the video where we're going to use it. I'm just going to use some stuff I've got 2 Pentium 2 350s sitting over there ready to go, but you guys already know that because you've already seen that part of the video, because when we film this, it's all out of order. All right, I'm going to fire it up. I'm going to go put it on the test bench. I'm going
to get the fire extinguisher ready.
No, it's going to work. It's never been used before. It's going to work. First try.
Yep.
I just have to set the front side bus with the jumpers on it for both the CPUs, but then we should be good to go.
You just said a whole lot of words.
We used jumpers back in those days. Not what you're wearing, but the one on the board.
It's a very Australian word.
It is. All right, my friends, it's time for the smoke test. 2 CPUs installed. We've got I think this is a Riva TN2. No, this is a GeForce 2 MX. OBS is recording. Let's see. It's very noisy. I don't like that stock Pentium 3 cooler. Yeah, look at that. We have liftoff. Pentium 2 ECC, 350 megahertz. Say it, say it. 2 processors detected. All right, go into the BIOS because we need to detect this drive. I don't know if this is going to boot. This is really freaking cool. Wow. I mean, it's all set to auto. I'm sure it will be fine. That is really loud, by the way. Okay. I don't know what's on this drive. I can't remember. Hopefully something cool. Hopefully Windows 2000. I think it does have Windows 2000 on it. Ooh, the wait for the beep really freaks me out. All right, let's see. What is on this drive? I have no idea. Oh, it detected the drive. It's an SSD, by the way. Let's see, what are you going to boot into? Be something cool, please. Oh, it doesn't know what to do with the drive. Ooh, it's locked up here. Let's see if we can just trick the system into doing what I want it to do. Oh, it's totally locked up. No. Okay. There is a solution, guys. I'm gonna quickly just configure the BIOS. 120 gig for this time period is quite large. I might have to bench flash the BIOS, or I could probably just find a BIOS online. We'll just go. Oh, it doesn't like it. Oh no. Doesn't like this drive at all. No. I really want to get it to boot now. I'm going to do it. It really, really doesn't like that drive. That sucks. It does have the original BIOS on it. Maybe, just maybe, I can update the BIOS on here. Boards like this, I can pull the chip off and I can bench flash a newer BIOS to it. Because what I do is I just back up the BIOS. I have EEPROM readers and programmers. I could just do it. I have all of the nerd stuff, guys. Don't worry. Okay, let's get a BIOS update on here and see if we can boot in. All right, we've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole here, guys. I'm gonna show you guys some things that maybe you haven't seen before, but the BIOS chips on older boards are removable. We're gonna pull this ROM out. Basically, I'm gonna back up the stock ROM image, just in case anything goes wrong. I'm going to flash a new one. And it's just better this way because they didn't have dual BIOS at this time. And if anything really goes wrong, I can just restore this. And I have a couple of these laying around anyway. There's an orientation for the ICs that you put in here. This bench flasher without any of the hats should work straight off the bat. I have flash BIOSes with this chip before without doing anything exotic at all. Basically, you just line up this notch with this end, put it in, and then lock it, and then we'll power it up with some USB, and hopefully we get a reading. All right, we're using this program called XGECU. Been using this one for a long time for this kind of stuff. As you can see, the programmer is connected, all the voltage, everything's all good. We've got a clean bill of nothing. What we're wanting to do is select the IC. This is the IC that it is. It's not whatever the board said it was. I had peeled off the BIOS sticker just to find out. I'm going to click select. And then what we want to do is then read the ROM off it. So we hit read and we have a successful read. So when we go back, we can see that all this information here, this is all the info that's in your BIOS file. Well, not in yours, but you know, what we can do here is just look, it will give us like some text messages you'll see in the BIOS. This is the raw data from the BIOS. So what we want to do now is save. You want to do a backup of this just in case anything goes awry. So we will back that up. Now what we're going to do is the scariest thing. We're going to go erase. We're going to erase the chip. The chip's now being erased. It's blank. Now you want to go device, you want to go blank check. And we want to see that it's been blank. So the flash is blank. Then what we do again is read. We'll read the chip. And now we should have all blank information here. Now we're going to load a file in. We don't need to worry about any of these options here. Go to my downloads folder where I've downloaded the newer version of the BIOS. We're going to click OK, device, program, and we're going to let it program the new ROM to this chip. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if the drive decides it wants to work. Verified flash programming succeeded. So that's it. That's how you bench flash a BIOS if you don't want to install an operating system. And that's it. There we go. All done. All right, put the EEPROM back in. Oh, such a satisfying yet scary sound. And let's see if it works again. It might not work with this BIOS version, to be fair, with this drive, but you know, only one way to find out. All right, party people, it's time. Oh, help if I turn the power supply on. All right, let's see what happens. See if my ROM programming worked. Hopefully it worked. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, we're good. BIOS flashed, all good. It's always that moment when you flash a BIOS on the bench that it might not work. We've got a new BIOS version as well down the bottom, and we'll see if it boots this time. I don't think it's going to boot, but anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. If it boots, I'll be very surprised. Oh! It's doing something. It got past the last bit where it hung up. Oh, Windows 2000! Yes! BIOS update works again. Windows might blue screen here though, to be fair, because I don't know what the configuration was, but we'll find out. Oh, it's booting! Windows 2000, so sick. It might not work though. I honestly don't think it's going to work. It's probably going to blue screen because it's like, hey, you had a different amount of RAM and different CPUs. Okay, it's doing a file system check. Oh. Can we get to desktop? Can we get to desktop? Oh, I don't know. Please get to the desktop. Or did you crash? Trying to figure out if you had two CPUs or not. Oh, yes! Where's the mouse? Okay, it's doing all the plug and play stuff now. Let's see. GeForce 2 MX400, not 200, whatever I said before. What an idiot. I think you're a retro guy, can't even remember what hardware you had in here. It's detecting the hardware. It's detecting. This is very exciting, guys, because I didn't think I was even going to power this up today. I didn't think this was going to work at all. It's doing some flashy. Okay, performance. It's only showing one processor. This is okay because there's actually something we need to do to get two processors to work. And the side quest to continue, ladies and gents. I got both processors to work. I'll show you how I did it really quickly in case you cared, or maybe you don't care. Essentially, I just went into Device Manager, and in the computer properties here, I just changed this before the driver said that it was something else. So I went display all of the known drivers, and then show all devices, and it was this one here, it was the ACPI one, and I just changed it to multiprocessor PC. I rebooted and I opened up Task Manager and both CPUs came up. So we have both of these Pentium 2s running, which is freaking amazing. Now I don't know what to do with it. I know exactly what's happening with this setup, but it'll be with different CPUs, but yeah, you get the idea. Now I have a Windows install, I don't need to do that later. Well, my friends, that was a side quest if there ever was one, but I'm glad that I got a chance to fire this board up to see if it worked, because the truth is, we had no idea if this worked. We, meaning Marco and myself, given that he bought this for me, brand new, unused, new in box, and I went and maimed the BIOS chip by pulling it off the board and peeling the sticker back to see what the chip was. But it doesn't matter, it works! And I'm glad that I could figure out that it was going to be the BIOS being the problem with this board rather than me freaking out that the board was dead. It's always the BIOS on these old boards, especially when it comes to drives that well exceed the capacity of the time. 120 gigs for $19.99 was unheard of, unless you had some crazy file server with 1 million drives in it in a raid mode that would probably break stuff using ultra-wide SCSI. Wow, I'm old. With saying all of that, again, shout out to Marco just for being an absolute legend and helping me fulfill one of my teenage dreams of owning a dual Pentium 2 system. Let us know what your best memory was from that era if you were alive. I know we have some younger viewers, but most of our audience is close to my age, which is, I'm not going to say it because I want people to guess how old I am. Some of you already know, but I'm older than I look. You can now judge by the Lamington in my chin. You know, it's going to be funny. People are going to wonder what a Lamington is who are not from Australia or New Zealand. They're going to wonder. Pretty sure they'd have Lamingtons in the UK as well. I don't know.